I set timers on my phone for it because it goes to 28 minutes.
What does?
And kind of show it to you, because keep in mind that I'm kind of thinking that this is a roof and a roof. They're both inclined planes, so you have 4 inclined planes on this object. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now that causes a little bit of an issue when we draw this. Okay. The thing is, notice that this upper roof goes over the top of the lower one a little bit more. That's what causes this little vertical line right here and here. And then we see the valley, or the joint between the 2 roofs, which is from there to there, coming up. So you need to get this view correct before you get started. Okay. All right, once we do that, I'll show you the finished project first. So here in essence is where you're going to finish up. Right here, I think I asked for a door. I put a double door in mine, but you can do a single door if you wish, and we're going to shingle a roof. Now there's a lot of things we get into on this that, for this one, I don't really want you doing a bunch of the extra stuff. We'll wait till we get the house and do that, but drafters take a lot of pride in these, and they do a lot of things behind the scenes to create that illusion of depth. Because it's a flat drawing, right? It's a 2-dimensional drawing. It just appears 3-dimensional. And we can do a lot of things like using P-lines and varying widths and take our line weights and adjust them all over the place just to get that depth illusion. But I'll bring that in when we do the house, not necessarily on this. I want you to focus on technique here. Technique is pretty much key. All right, so setup. Okay, now I chose, when I put this together, an A sheet. So you see my viewport. Now when I chose to set my top view, I chose this corner right here, specifically because it gives me true size of some planes. Okay. So I've got true size of this wall right here. Okay. Now the other thing I want to look at is where are you crossing the picture plane for other heights? Now I do cross right here on this side. That gives me the true height of that wall because it goes right through the middle of it, right? I also cross on this one, but this isn't going to do me any good because that's on this inclined plane coming up here. And that's not going to help me a bit. Okay. So we need to deal with those. This peak right here is a different height that's up here. It doesn't cross the picture plane. I'm going to have to locate true size in an imaginary spot and then move it. Same with this one. This ridge does not cross the picture plane. Therefore, I'm going to have to project for that true height. Okay. All right, so let's go about doing this thing. Just to save time, well, it probably wouldn't hurt to see it again. So let's go ahead and do our setup. So I'm going to throw a plane out there. You probably can't see that. Let me draw on the 0 there. Now do my Kona silence. And I want you to see these sides right here. Let me go ahead and throw angular down here. I don't want to let you see that, so let me change this. Let's go 3-inch out of work. You can see that. Okay, so I'm at 32 degrees. So let's go ahead and leave that somewhere right in there. Okay, now, again, you want to choose that so where you can see it. Now, I can barely see this side, so it's going to appear large and skinny. If you want to see a little bit more of it, slide it to the left. Everybody's drawing should be a little bit different. I want you to look kind of into this area. Make sure you can get a good look at this. Okay. Now, based on that, if I drew a line, I'm not going to see a good portion of this back wall, but I will see enough that I'll get that depth of it to pop. Okay. And that's really what you're looking for on here is create that illusion of depth, or 3-dimensional. And you need stuff at different locations to do that. So I'll just leave it right here. Oh, don't want to delete that guy. Now, I'm going to be drawn right over the top of my station point, and I don't want to delete that thing, right? And I'm going to be deleting and trimming a bunch of things in there. So I'm going to do a little trick on this. I'm going to create a layer, and I'm just going to call it station point. And let's give it a color of white. Okay, so make that layer. And I'm going to put my vanishing points and station points on that. So let me get my vanishing points first. Let's see, I'll copy that line and that one. Put them to there. Let's extend them up. Should have chose that line instead of using the shortcut.
Just go down to the right.
Yep. Actually, let's do this quicker. Do a move on that, and that, from there, to there.
Oh, check it out.
And let's throw all of these on the station point layer. And then, once I've got those on the station point layer, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lock that layer. Okay? That's about the only time I use the lock. Remember, the lock will leave it on the screen, I can snap to it, but I can't delete it, I can't add anything to it. Okay? So it's still there for me to use, but I can't accidentally delete it. Okay? So there's that. All right, let's go ahead and draw. Let's start with the main church. So I'm true size and shape right here. So I'll bring that down, and I can bring that over from here. Okay, so there's true size on my wall. Now this portion vanishes left, right there. This wall vanishes right. Okay, so I'll take this one to the right. And let me trim real quick. Trim that, get rid of that, get rid of that. And once we've got those tops and bottoms, we need to locate. So the only thing I need to locate here is this one. That goes to there. And we need to locate the back side, which I go from station point to point, and where it crosses the picture plane, I drop that down. Now we'll trim this out. Ah, my cast got that thing. Okay, there's the body of the church. Okay. Now let's go ahead and finish this thing, so we need to get the roof. I don't have true size of it. So I'm going to project that ridge line. So what we call the very top of a roof, a ridge. I'm going to extend that to the picture plane because it's true size at this location. I'm going to bring that straight down. Now I can use this view, and I'm going to come from there to there. Now this is a vanish right plane. So I'm going to bring it back to there. So I know that roof falls along that line. I just don't know where. Remember, this front edge is true size. Then I use the station point to locate where my ends are. So there's one right here. So here's the front of it. And there's one on the back. So here's the back of it. Let's go ahead and trim that up. So there is where the roof sits. Now on this front edge, I've now located all the endpoints for it. I know, well, I don't show you the view, but this endpoint connect to the ridge. So I can just digitize because I've got all of my endpoints located. So we'll take a point from here to here to here. This really isn't here. Okay, so I'll delete that back out. And that's what that side looks like. This side right here, again, I have the endpoints. So I'm just going to connect those two up. Any questions on that? Okay. Now, the next part is I'm going to draw the foyer. And that's what I'm calling this small piece right here where we enter in. Again, I'm true size of the wall right here because I'm given that in my orthographic view. It's right here. You don't want to use this one because you're on an inclined plane there. So let me show you how I'm going to get that height. Because I know I'm already on the picture plane right here. I'm going to bring that straight down to the ground. And I can bring that wall height over from here. Okay. So there's the true height at that location. Okay, so let me just kind of trim that up and show you. So there it is. Now, keep in mind, where's that at? It's right in the middle of the wall, right? Okay, but what way does that plane vanish? It vanishes left. Okay. So I'm going to take this, and I'm going to take the top of it, vanish it left to the bottom. Now the back of it is right here at this point. Okay, that is right here. Okay? And again, you can check that by doing a location. Station point to here, and then drop it straight down. You can kind of see I'm falling right on that. All of those should be meeting right there at the bottom if you projected correctly. Okay? So in this case it did. Now I'm going to trim this out, because that's the back of it. Now, how am I going to get the front? First thing, I know it's got to come out to the right, but I've already got the top and bottom defined. So I'm going to come in here, and I'm just going to draw myself a line out here. And I'm going to extend this top to it and the bottom. I'll just extend them on out. Like such, because I know they got to go on that angle. They have already defined the top and bottom. So I just throw them out on the angle that they're at, and then I'm going to locate. So now I go from station point to the front. This is in front of the picture plane. This is one of those figures I gave you this morning. So if I hit a point in front of the picture plane, I draw to it, and I extend to the picture plane. Then I'm going to grab that point and drop it straight down. So we'll delete that. There's that front edge right there. So we can trim that up. And there's my front wall. And let me set this guy on, how about the text layer? Because that's my true size element. And I try and leave those, and I'll turn them off before I print or something, because I end up going back and adding stuff to these, and then it just saves me having to recreate these true size portions. All right, so we've got this left side. Let's go ahead and do the right side. I've already got this front edge. This one vanishes right. So all I've got to do is grab here, let's go right. And then I'm going to locate the back edge. So we use station point to locate. And that sits right there. Let's trim up. Now you can kind of see I don't see this bottom anymore, so I'm going to trim it out immediately here and just kind of get it clean, keep it clean, so it looks like such. So now I've got that. I don't need to draw this back side because I can't see it anyway. So I'm done with that. I need to go to the ridge now. Again, the ridge sits right here. It's not on the picture plane, so I need to extend to it to get true size. So I'm just going to extend this line out to the picture plane and then drop it straight down. Now I can go true size. And that means I can use this view over here. So there's true size. That's a vanish left plane. Goes to right there. So I know that ridge has to fall on this line. Now I just locate where it's really at. And I use the station point for that. So that goes to there. Make sure your snaps are good here. So there's the front of it. And the back darn. Let's just delete that guy. And we'll go from station point to the back and drop that one straight down. We'll trim this up. Okay, so there's that ridge. Now, again, I can draw the front up because I've got this endpoint, and this endpoint. So all they can do is just digitize this together. It goes like such. Now, you got to be careful here because we've got this line, that's the valley, where this roof meets this one. That's really an oblique. Okay, because you got two inclines meeting together, right? So you've got to get the endpoints. You've already got this endpoint. To locate the endpoints down here, keep in mind, you're on the top roof to there, and then we switch to the bottom roof. I've got the bottom one right there. But I don't have this intermediate point. So I'm gonna have to locate that point. I've already got all the other endpoints. So you can, all you have to do is use a station point for that. Just make sure you're finding it on the right line. So I'm gonna go station point to that junction right there. This is on the top roof. Okay. And I'm gonna bring that from where it crosses the picture plane, come on, snap to the right spot. And I'm gonna bring it down to that top roof, okay, because that's the point right there. Now, this junction then goes from here to here to here. There is a deviation that goes on there. Let me trim that up. Okay, and there you go. There's your structure. Yes.
So the biggest part of the roof digs into the smaller part of the roof.
Yeah, you're looking at the joint from here to here is the joint between that roof and that roof.
Okay.
The section from here to here is the
Wall.
joint between this roof and this wall.
Okay.
And the angle changes there, right? This thing's sloped, this is vertical.
Yeah.
So just make sure you're finding those spots. Yes.
Is that preferable in a structure, or would you want to move it up in order?
Now, there's no eaves or anything on here, right?
Okay.
Yeah, we don't have soffits, we don't have fascia, we don't have all these other roof components. It's just a box.
It's just a box. Okay.
Okay, and you're just tracking points. Just make sure you understand that 3-view drawing so that you get to the right spots.
Gotcha.
All right, let's go ahead and put the door on there. The door sits here. I don't have any true length elements on here, so I don't know the height of it. Again, I'm switching heights. But is this wall common to this wall as far as heights?
Yes.
Yeah, I've got a true length element right there. I've got another one right here. I can find the height of that door on one of these and then just follow my planes around. Okay, so I'm going to use that cyan line. By the way, let's see. Come on, computer. This line is not here. So this is true length. So let's get the door on there and just draw it into this view where you want it. I'm going to draw it to right. Where's my perpendicular snap? There's the height of the door. Now, I found it on this plane. Remember, this is the vanished left plane, right here. So I've then got to take that true height and vanish it left. Now, I've got to bring that to this corner. So once I find the height of it and the orientation, I'm just going to extend it to that corner. Now, I found the true height on here. Now I need to go onto a vanished right plane. Okay, so I'm going to grab this guy and vanish it right. There's the top of my door, right there. Don't need this anymore. Let me just trim this back to here so we can see it. Now, I've got one other problem that's going on here. I took true height, brought it down this plane, and then brought it this line, just traced that height along those planes. The other thing I've got to do is I need to know where it sits this way, right? Okay. I've got it drawn here. I need to make sure I know where it's at up here. Okay. So I've got it centered where this line is right under the peak. So I'm just going to use the offset command to locate a point here and where it sits. Okay. So we do need to locate that, so in both views. So I'm going to do offset from there to there, and then just throw this guy both ways. And that gives me my edges of the door. Let me trim that guy back so I don't get a bad snap on these things. So those are my edges. Now all I got to do is locate. So I'm going to come into here. There is the left edge of the door. I'm in front of the picture plane. Make sure you extend through the point to the picture plane and then drop that down. So there's my left edge. Let's get the right edge, which is here. And then we're just trimming. So there's that one, and that. I guess I better do my middle piece too. because I got double doors. So we get the center of my door. I could have just brought it straight down from the peak too, I guess. There it is. Most circular shapes, you know, you need doorknobs. Make stuff look right. Trust your eye. Circular shapes, again, you would treat them like a regular curves, right? If I had a circle, I would grid it out and project points along it, and then have to bring it in the same way we did a regular curves and orthographic projection. I've gotten to the point where I don't do that anymore. I just trust my eye. You've been looking at circular shapes for a long time. So if I wanted to do doorknobs on here or something, I don't know, what kind of doorknob do we want?
I have to do a lever. I'm gonna do one.
Yeah, let's just do kind of vertical ones. So there's that, and then those two are going to go vanish right, so top and bottom. And then let's just do an offset of 1. I think that's going to be way too big. Let's do an offset of 0.05. That's too far. Offset of 0.01. I want a fifth of that. That'll work. I'll extend, trim, trim, trim. Let's see. Let's do this. Extend. I can type here. I'm just kind of winging this. That'll work. Delete. Copy. And let's see, I need vanishing right. There's my doorknobs. But you don't have to do those, but it's kind of fun. Right? Okay, so there's pretty much the object done. We go ahead and isolate all this, get it to the right line weight. And delete that. All right, next thing we need to do is we need to shingle this thing. Now, for this, we've got 2 directions on the plane. I'll just shingle this roof right here. So this line and this line, which define the top and the bottom, shoot to vanishing point right. So I'm fine on those lines. If you look at a shingled roof, it's a rectangular piece sitting on there, right? Now, the thing is, I'm going to have axes that go this way. Now, I do have parallel lines. I have this line and I have this line. So those 2 are going to define the edges of my inclined plane. That's here and here. Okay. So I need that to define where those verticals are this way. And again, this is that figure of the handout I gave you this morning on page 2. So how I'm going to do that is you have to have parallel lines here, folks. So that one and that one. So I'm just going to come out here in space somewhere. I'm going to get a long ways away and just draw myself a line. Now I'm going to extend, and this time I don't use the shortcut. Do the extend command and choose that guy. And then we're going to come in and extend that line and that line. They're going to meet somewhere. There's where they meet. So that's my new vanishing point for that axis. So let's put a point there. So there's that point. Now let's go ahead and trim everything back to that. Okay. So there's my new vanishing point. Now, let's go ahead and throw shingles on there. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make myself a layer. So this is gonna control my shingles. So I'll call it shingles. I want shingles, doesn't matter on the color. Are shingles a real prominent edge on a house? No, they're kind of shadowed, right? So I'm gonna set this at a very low line weight. So I'm gonna set it, let's go, I don't know, 002, 004, somewhere in that range.